Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in a personal story segment tonight. New book by legendary former ABC News anchor Ted Koppel. It's called Lights Out, Cyberattack, A Nation Unprepared, Surviving the Aftermath. Which now is Mr. Koppel. So that title's pretty scary.
I hope so.
Can you back it up? You can back it up?
I mean, as you know, Bill, reporters don't necessarily know a hell of a lot about the actual subject until they start talking to the experts. I talk to experts in the military, in the intelligence field, in the industry itself, and the vast preponderance of them believe that this is not only a possibility, but a likelihood.
All right. So some nation, Russia, Putin, China, even maybe the terrorists, the ISIS or Iranians, they'll hack into our system?
They have already hacked into our system. The Chinese and the Russians are already inside. This comes from people, high-ranking people in the National Security Agency. They've got what amount to cyber time bombs that are ready to go off.
So they're already working toward bringing down our system?
They are already in a position that with a keystroke they could take down.
But why don't they do it?
The power grid. Because the Russians and the Chinese and the United States have so many interlocking interests, they're probably not going to do it. That's the good news. There are others who are not quite as technically capable, like the Iranians and the North Koreans, and yes, ISIS.
But they would do it if they could.
They would if they could,
but if the
they very soon will have that capability.
If the National Security Agency understands what's happening, can't they build a firewall of protection to stop any of these attacks? If they know they're inside, they have the information that, look, these guys are trying to do this and want the capability of doing it, can't they stop it?
The Internet was designed to be a meeting place for professors with good ideas. It was never designed to be defended. It was designed to exchange information instantaneously around the world. We are much better at cyber offense. We can do the same thing to the Russians and the Chinese as they can do. We're probably better at it than they are. But defending it is all.
So it would be mutual destruction then if somebody did it, because they would know who did it.
No, not necessarily.
No?
No. I mean, take a look at how long it took the FBI to come to the conclusion that North Korea, which is not nearly as technically capable as the Chinese or the Russians, how long it took them to figure out that they were the ones who hacked into Sony Pictures.
Yeah, Sony Pictures.
Yeah.
All right, and the Chinese have been accused of doing this for industrial espionage. So if it all goes down, if they succeed in hacking us in a cyber attack on the nation, then our cell phones don't work, right?
That's the easiest part, Bill. Your electricity doesn't work, your lights don't work, your refrigeration, your
because it's all computerized now.
Well, it's all on the electric grid. If the electric grid comes down, everything in a city like New York that runs on electricity, which is just about everything, is down.
All right, so then we have zombie apocalypse, people running around the streets, looting. You remember what happened in the blackout in the 70s. So you have disorder, anarchy, all of that. Do you foresee that happening?
It is entirely possible. The only people who can stop it from happening, the military.
Yeah, the military would have to be called in and all of that.
That's exactly right.
All right,
the problem is that the Department of Homeland Security does not have a plan for the civilian population in the event that this happens.
Why not?
Because the plans they've got they've got plans for floods, they've got plans for blizzards.
But they know the NSA knows it's going to happen. Why doesn't Homeland Security have a plan?
I don't know the answer to that.
You need to find that out.
You're going to find that out.
I might.
Yeah.
Look, I don't like any of this internet stuff. You probably know if you watch the program. I think it's destroyed journalism. I mean, just yesterday we had a Chris Christie story that was totally fabricated. New York Times picks it up. Washington Post picks it up. They don't even check it. They know where it's coming from. I think it's undermined our business. But what you're writing about will undermine physical safety. I mean, you'll have thousands of people dead, elderly people, their air conditioning go out,
exactly right.
It's the middle of winter, and you're telling me that our Homeland Security has no plan at all. That's frightening.
What I'm telling you is I spent an hour with Jay Johnson, the current Secretary of Homeland Security, and I kept saying, what is the plan? And he said, I said, we pointed up to a bunch of white folders on the shelf. And he said, I'm sure there's a plan out there.
I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there is. But The one thing that he recommended is have a radio with extra batteries.
A radio with extra batteries.
And I said, what are you going to tell people after the fact that you can't tell them now when they could still do something about it? It was not a pleasant exchange.
And maybe you get a kite, too, so you put it up if it's a lightning storm.
That's one answer.
All right, the book is very provocative. It's called Lights Out, Ted Koppel.
If I had been thinking, Bill, I would have asked you to co-author. We could have called it Killing the Lights. Huh? What do you think?
It's amazing that you've kept your wit after all these years, you know, killing the lights.
Ages.
Okay?
Ages catching up with both of us.
Not me. I mean, look at this Botox. It really works.
Does it?
But if it's Cyberattack, I might not be able to get my Botox thing, and that would be a disaster. Ted Koppel, everybody, there he is.